The Pacific Crest Trail is a long-distance hiking and equestrian trail closely aligned with the highest portion of the Sierra Nevada and Cascade mountain ranges, which lie 100 to 150 miles east of the U.S. Pacific coast. The trail's southern terminus is on the U.S. border with Mexico, and its northern terminus on the US-Canada border on the edge of Manning Park in British Columbia, Canada. Its corridor through the U.S. is in the states of California, Oregon, and Washington. The Pacific Crest Trail is 2,663 mi long and ranges in elevation from just above sea level at the Oregon-Washington border to 13,153 feet at Forester Pass in the Sierra Nevada. The route passes through 25 national forests and 7 national parks. Its midpoint is in Chester, California, where the Sierra and Cascade mountain ranges meet. It was designated a National Scenic Trail in 1968, although it was not officially completed until 1993. The PCT was conceived by Clinton Churchill Clark in 1932. It received official status under the National Trail System Act of 1968. It is the westernmost and second longest component of the Triple Crown of hiking, and is part of the 6,875-mile Great Western Loop. Route: the route is mostly through national forest and protected wilderness. The trail avoids civilization, and covers scenic and pristine mountainous terrain with few roads. It passes through the Laguna, San Jacinto, San Bernardino, San Gabriel, Libra, Tulachapi, Sierra Nevada, and Klamath Ranges in California, and the Cascade Range in California, Oregon, and Washington states. A parallel route for bicycles, the Pacific Crest Bicycle Trail is a 2,500-mile route designed closely parallel to the PCT on roads. The PCT and PCBT cross in about 27 places along their routes. History: the Pacific Crest Trail was first proposed by Clinton C. Clark, as a trail running from Mexico to Canada along the crest of the mountains in California, Oregon, and Washington. The original proposal was to link the John Muir Trail, the Tahoe Yosemite Trail, the Skyline Trail and the Cascade Crest Trail. The Pacific Crest Trail System Conference was formed by Clark to both plan the trail and to lobby the federal government to protect the trail. The conference was founded by Clark, the Boy Scouts, the YMCA, and Ansel Adams. From 1935 through 1938, YMCA groups explored the 2,000 miles of potential trail and planned a route, which has been closely followed by the modern PCT route. In 1968, President Lyndon Johnson defined the PCT and the Appalachian Trail with the National Trail System Act. The PCT was then constructed through cooperation between the federal government and volunteers organized by the Pacific Crest Trail Association. In 1993, the PCT was officially declared finished. Through hiking. Through hiking is a term used in referring to hikers who complete long-distance trails from end to end in a single trip. The Pacific Crest Trail, Appalachian Trail, and Continental Divide Trail were the first 3 long-distance trails in the U.S. successfully through hiking. All of these 3 trails is known as the Triple Crown of hiking. Through hiking is a long commitment, usually taking between 4 and 6 months, that requires thorough preparation and dedication. Although the actual number is difficult to calculate, it is estimated that around 180 out of approximately 300 people who attempt a through hike complete the entire trail each year. The Pacific Crest Trail Association estimates that it takes most hikers between 6 and 8 months to plan their trip. The first thing prospective through hikers have to do before attempting a through hike is to plan out and sketch out their trip. In general, the decision of which route to take needs to be considered. While most hikers travel from the southern terminus at the Mexico border northward to Manning Park, British Columbia, some hikers prefer a southbound route. In a normal weather year, northbound hikes are most practical due to snow and temperature considerations. If snowpack in the Sierra Nevada is high in early June and low in the northern Cascades, some hikers may choose to flip-flop. Flip-flopping can take many forms but often describes a process whereby a hiker begins at one end of the trail and then, at some point, like reaching the Sierra, flips to the end of the trail and hikes southbound to complete the trail. However, It is not currently possible to legally enter the United States from Canada by using the Pacific Crest Trail. Hikers also have to determine their resupply points. Resupply points are towns or post offices where hikers replenish food and other supplies such as cooking fuel. Hikers can ship packages to themselves at the U.S. post offices along the trail, resupply at general and grocery stores along the trail, or any combination of the two. The final major logistical step is to create an approximate schedule for completion. Through hikers have to make sure they complete enough miles every day to reach the opposite end of the trail before weather conditions make sections impassable. Deep snowpack in the Sierra Nevada can prevent an early start. The timing is a balance between not getting to the Sierra too soon nor the northern Cascades too late. Most hikers cover about 20 miles per day. In order to reduce their hiking time, and thereby increase their chances of completing the trail, many hikers try to substantially reduce their pack weight. Since the creation of the Pacific Crest Trail, there has been a large movement by hikers away from large heavy packs with a lot of gear. There are 3 general classifications for hikers: traditional, lightweight, and ultralight. Ultralight hikers trim every extra ounce from their pack weight by doing everything from cutting extra straps off their packs to eating only food that does not have to be cooked so a stove is not required. Over the past few years the number of traditional hikers has dropped considerably. Notable hikers: on October 16, 1970, Eric Ryback, an 18-year-old student, completed the first PCT through hike. His personal congratulations came by telegram from no less than Edward P. Cliff, Chief of the U.S. Forest Service. Ryback is credited, recognized, and has been honored by the Pacific Crest Trail Associated as the official first through hiker of the entire trail. Ryback completed the Appalachian Trail in 1969, the Pacific Crest Trail in 1970, and a route approximating today our unregistered trademark S Continental Divide Trail in 1972. Ryback's 1971 book The High Adventure of Eric Ryback, Canada to Mexico on foot focused public attention on the PCT. Ryback carried an 80-pound pack on his 1970 through hike. He had only 5 resupply packages on the entire trip, and was loaded with 40 pounds of food at the start of each leg. He often ran out of food and foraged or went hungry. Ryback also helped the Forest Service lay out future plans for the PCT. Ryback's claim is disputed. When the guidebook publisher, Wilderness Press, stated in print that Ryback had used motor transport in places along the PCT, Ryback sued for $3 million, but withdrew the suit after Wilderness Press revealed statements from the people who claimed to have picked up the young hiker along highways parallel to the 2,600-mile trail. Ryback is in Smithsonian's top 9 list of people cheating their way to fame, though it notes that the claims that Ryback are still doubted by some. Before the PCT was planned, Martin Pepin Dye was the first known person to hike across 3 states of the PCT in 1952. After being one of the first to finish the Appalachian Trail in 1951, Pepin Dye hiked between July 4 and December 1, 1952, from British Columbia to the Mexican border over the crests of the mountains along the Pacific coast, a feat he reported in a periodical under the title Pacific Crest Trail. The first person to hike the PCT from south to north was Richard Watson, who completed the trail on September 1, 1972. Watson was often credited as the first PCT through hiker, because Pepin Dye was generally unknown, and Ryback may have accepted rides. The first woman to complete the PCT was Mary Carstens, who finished the journey later in 1972 accompanied by Jeff Smukala. The first person to through hike the entire PCT both ways in a single continuous round trip was Scott Williamson, who completed the yo-yo circuit on his 4th attempt in November 2004. Williamson traveled a total of 5,300 miles in 197 days, covering an average of 35 to 40 miles per day when not in snow, an overall average of 27 miles per day, wearing an extremely ultra-lightweight pack, which without food, weighed about 8.5 pounds. Williamson then went on to complete a second round trip on November 28, 2006, cutting 2 weeks off his 2004 time. The youngest person to thru-hike the trail is Sierra Burra, who hiked the trail from April through September 2012 at the age of 9. She completed her hike with her mother, Heather Burra. The youngest boy to thru-hike the trail is not known. Other notable young hikers include Reed Jones and Mary Chambers. Reed Jones, who hiked the trail in 2011 at age 11, went on to complete the Triple Crown of hiking, becoming the youngest person ever to do so. Mary Chambers hiked the route with her parents in 2004 at age 10. A book about their experiences on the trail 0 Days was published in January 2008 by Wilderness Press. An autobiographical account of a woman hiking a portion of the PCT alone in 1995, at age 26, was written by Cheryl Strayed. Her memoir Wild, From Lost to Found on the Pacific Crest Trail was published in 2012 and reached #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list. Her hike is the subject of the 2014 film Wild, starring Reese Witherspoon. The oldest person to thru-hike the trail is not known. On August 7, 2013, Heather Anish Anderson set a new unsupported speed record completing the entire PCT in 60 days, 17 hours, 12 minutes. On August 10, 2014, Joseph McAnulphy, a former Boston College middle-distance runner, set a new supported speed record and the overall fastest time for the PCT. The distance was covered in 53 days, 6 hours, and 37 minutes. This overcame the previous record of 59 days, 8 hours, 14 minutes, set by Josh Garrett on August 8, 2013, by more than 6 days. Joe was supported by a team of 3 hikers, Jordan Ham, Michael Dillon, and Jack Murphy. Equestrian use. Don and June Mulford made the first verifiable equestrian through ride of the PCT in 1959. In that year the Pacific Crest Trail stretched a poorly marked 2,400 miles from Mexico to Canada. More concept than footpath, the trail was an oft-broken, high-ridge track disappearing regularly from map and terrain. On April 19, 1959, on an empty scrub sage plain 7 miles east of Tijuana, with 4 horses, Don and June Mulford began their journey north to the Washington-Canadian border. The Mulfords went to Hollywood for 3 months immediately after the ride and were featured on network television. June's old press book yields a half-dozen TV guide pages, and she recalls, "Art Linkletter was such a nice man. We appeared on his house party show and he had coffee with us afterward." High Road to Danger, a syndicated TV show, made an episode on their ride. Even after returning home to the Northwest, there was continued TV coverage. A January 1961 TV guide records their appearance on Portland's KOIN Red Dunning's show. The Mulfords even made a 90-minute movie and showed it around 12 western states for 10 years. The Murray family Barry, Bernice, Barry Jr. and Bernetta completed the trek on horseback on October 7, 1970. Future. In 2008, an agreement for realignment through Tejon Ranch was reached. Portland, Oregon's 40-mile loop proposes to extend the Springwater Corridor hiking and bicycling spur trail to connect to the Pacific Crest Trail with the proposed Cazadero Trail. Notable locations. The following notable locations are found along or adjacent to the route of the Pacific Crest Trail. They are listed from south to north to correspond with the itinerary typically followed by through hikers to take advantage of the best seasonal weather conditions. The numbers in parentheses correspond to the numbers on the PCT overview map above. California, Campo, California, near the trail's southern terminus at the Mexico-United States border, Anza Borrego Desert State Park, Cleveland National Forest, Mount San Jacinto State Park, Big Bear Lake, Cajon Pass, Angeles National Forest, Vasquez Rocks, Agua Dulce, California, Walker Pass, Owens Peak Wilderness, South Sierra Wilderness, Golden Trout Wilderness, Kings Canyon National Park, Forester Pass, highest point on the trail. John Muir Wilderness, Ansel Adams Wilderness, Devil's Pass National Monument. Yosemite National Park, Tuolumne Meadows. Sonora Pass, Ebbets Pass, Carson Pass, Desolation Wilderness, Lassen National Forest, Lassen Volcanic National Park. MacArthur-Burney Falls Memorial State Park, Shasta Trinity National Forest, Castle Crags Wilderness. Klamath Mountains, Trinity Alps Wilderness, Russian Wilderness, Marble Mountain Wilderness. Oregon, Cascadia Siskiyou National Monument, Rogue River National Forest and Winema National Forest, Sky Lakes Wilderness. Crater Lake National Park, Crater Lake. UMPQUA National Forest, Mount Thielsen. Willamette National Forest and Deschutes National Forest, Diamond Peak Wilderness, Waldo Lake, Three Sisters Wilderness, D. Wright Observatory and Mackenzie Pass, Mount Washington Wilderness, Mount Jefferson Wilderness. Mount Hood National Forest, Alali Scenic Area, Warm Springs Indian Reservation, Timberline Lodge, Mount Hood Wilderness, Lolo Pass. Columbia River Gorge National Scenic Area, Mark O. Hatfield Wilderness, Cascade Locks, Oregon, lowest point on the trail, Bridge of the Gods. Washington, Gifford-Pinchot National Forest, Indian Heaven Wilderness, Mount Adams, Goat Rocks Wilderness, White Pass. Mount Rainier National Park, Chinook Pass. Mount Baker's Snoqualmie National Forest, North Peak Wilderness, Alpine Lakes Wilderness, Henry M. Jackson Wilderness, Glacier Peak Wilderness. Snoqualmie Pass, Stevens Pass, Lake Keelan National Recreation Area, Scheakin, Washington, last town along the trail, 10 miles from PCT by NPS bus. North Cascades National Park, Okanogan National Forest, Pacific Northwest National Scenic Trail, Boundary Monument 78, at the Canada-United States border. British Columbia, Canada, EC. Manning Provincial Park, the northern terminus of the trail, location coordinates. Notes. External links, Pacific Crest Trail Association, a non-profit that maintains and promotes the trail, and provides advice to hikers, postholer.com, an extensive source of PCT information, journals, Google Trail Maps, printed maps, data book and more. planyourhike.com, a website dedicated to helping hikers plan their Pacific Crest Trail through hikes. Trailjournals.com, a PCT photos and 1,000+ Pacific Crest Trail journals. Pacific Crest Trail, a Ride to Remember documentary produced by Oregon Public Broadcasting. Islands in the Sky, Tales from the Pacific Crest Trail, a KCET covers the PCT, BLM, Pacific Crest National Scenic Trail, a BLM summary of the PCT.